kick it to you for some takeaways. I'll throw mine in first. I guess two things. One, it's good to see Big Ben back. I think Diontae Johnson is that clear two there. If you spend a mid-round pick on him, that could pay off. On the New York side of the ball, I think Daniel Jones looked good. Couple tough plays in this one. The Watt interception was incredible. Any quarterback would have thrown that. A guy jumping off the defensive line for a pick. Second one was absolutely terrible, but some of the throws he made down the field looked awesome. Golden Tate coming back is only going to help Daniel Jones. And the matchups, it's tough this week against the Bears, but it's only going to get easier. So Daniel Jones, if he ends up on the waiver wire, I don't mind stashing him for later on in the year.
Yeah, Jones looked pretty good, making some very tight window throws, throwing to, like you said, with Golden Tate out, like he was throwing to C.J. Board, Caden Smith. Good to see Saquon Barkley,
Yikes.
even on a rough day. He had a great receiving line, 9 targets, 6 receptions, and 60 yards. So kind of saved your week there, so you didn't get less than 10 points from Saquon. Darius Slayton, to me, Diontae Johnson as well, but Darius Slayton specifically, he might be the king of New York now. 9 targets, 6 receptions, 102 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 17 yards per reception. So was getting these deep looks, was taking them to the house, was looked at the 30, 20-yard line. Just, hey, we're going to take a shot here early in this drive. Early in this set of downs, it was Darius Slayton as the number 1 read, and he was able to get open. He's a pure speedster, and with Sterling Shepard and Saquon pulling defenders in, I think we're going to see more of the same from Slayton. And with Golden Tate coming back, I think we're going to see things even open up more for Slayton. Maybe not 9 targets a week, but I think he's a guy that you roll out every single week now. I'm happy flexing him in my lineups if I have him. I'm fine to put him as a desperation wide receiver too if I'm in a tough spot and I got a running back I can plug in at flex. So Darius Slayton, to me, like we liked him for the upside that he could present. We liked him and Diontae Johnson. They were both these like mid-round league-winning wide receivers that you could take a shot on. It looks like both of them, at least in week 1, again, don't want to overreact, but they were getting plenty of volume, which is one of the biggest things we want to see early. So love Slayton. He looked good out there.
Last game here, Titans and Broncos, late one on Monday. Titans won 16-14. Weird game. We saw Derrick Henry run it 31 times for 116 yards. If you drafted Derrick Henry, I think this is a great sign because he signed the contract. We saw what he did last season. You shouldn't have expected anything different. But, I mean, is there a world where, barring injury, Derrick Henry doesn't lead the NFL in rushing yards again? Only 3.7 a carry in a tough matchup. Denver's run D is pretty solid. Still went over 100 yards. Didn't even have a touchdown. Put up a solid fantasy performance. Probably not what you were looking for, but got the job done. A.J. Brown, 5 for 39. Corey Davis, 7 catches for 101 yards. Interesting there. Big takeaways from here on the Denver side of the ball. Noah Fant, 5 catches on 6 targets, 81 yards and a touchdown. He looked the part. We've been talking him up as an athletic breakout. Incredibly fast 40 time. Super athlete. It was awesome to see him get involved. Melvin Gordon as well, 15 for 78 and a touchdown. Phillip Lindsay is banged up. Melvin Gordon's an auto start. He already was, but I'm smashing Melvin Gordon in my lineup every single week.
Not so fast. He plays Pittsburgh in week 2. I am not trying to start an inefficient. Even though Melvin Gordon was 5.2 yards per attempt on the ground, to see Saquon Barkley get shut down the way that he did, I have no confidence in Gordon. Maybe he falls in for a touchdown.
I'm going to pump the brakes on that statement I just made. That's a good call out. I mean, Melvin Gordon, I think – in most leagues, you're still starting him against Pittsburgh, but you're right. I'm not smashing that play against Pittsburgh, and I'm looking to see what my other options are, but I'm probably going to end up having to play him. Yeah. But, this one, for me, Titans regressed a little bit. The volume was higher. The efficiency was not. And then on the Denver side, it was great to see Noah Fant break out.
Drew Lock looked pretty solid. Not the best game he's ever played, but no interceptions, threw a touchdown. 33 attempts, like that's the volume that you want. That's enough for when Sutton comes back for him and Fant to be the options that we wanted to see. And then Jerry Jeudy made some rookie mistakes, but saw 8 targets and 4 receptions. I expect it to regress when Sutton is back. A.J. Brown, this is what we were saying about why A.J. Brown was so hard to take him at his ADP is because you're going to have games like this. He saw 8 targets in this game, which is pretty nice, but only essentially 9 fantasy points in PPR. It's just you're going to see these weeks from him in these game scripts where they just couldn't get things going. They weren't able to hit that breakaway play. We kind of saw that as a theme outside of the Steelers-Giants game. A lot of these teams were not able to get these big breakaway touchdowns going, and A.J. Brown was unfortunately one of the recipients of that, wasn't able to pull off any big plays in this one. So that's kind of part of the game with A.J. Brown. Just keep plugging him in there. Don't worry about it. Was nice to see the Broncos being able to move the ball and at least compete. I thought they were going to get crushed by the Titans.